Okay, this is our video for the take-home quiz that Miss Genevieve gave you today, Friday, December 9th. It is due on Monday. So I'm going to go through each of the questions. I also have the pages scanned in. If you have a hardcover book at home, great. If not, you can use what I scanned in. I will guide you to where you can find your answers, but it's going to be up to you to actually find the answer. So next to each question, I wrote down what page in the textbook you will find the information. So let's start with question number 1, is which type of government did the ancient Egyptians develop during the Old Kingdom? Your choices are democracy, dictatorship, republic, theocracy. So we're going to go to page 110 in our textbook, and here is 110. So if you look starting in the middle of the page where it says Life in the Old Kingdom, it's going to fall in this paragraph here. I will mark it for you. You will find your answer in this paragraph. So I will read that paragraph for you. You can pause the video to answer your question. So the systems they developed were based on the belief that the Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt, was both a king and a god. It was a theocracy, or a government ruled by religious authorities. In a theocracy, all political authority comes from religion. Religious leaders have the power to make, approve, or enforce laws. They look to the sacred texts or belief systems to justify their laws and actions. Priests and other religious leaders fill political offices. Individuals must follow religious laws carefully and may not have the right to freely choose what religion to practice. So for question number 1, what type of government did the ancient Egyptians develop during the Old Kingdom? Democracy, dictatorship, republic, or theocracy? Okay, so let's go to question number 2. The answer for this will also be found on page 110. The Old Kingdom was ruled by a pharaoh who was considered to be a living god and supported by blank who controlled many political offices: farmers, foreigners, priests, and women. So if you go back to page 110, it's in the same paragraph that I just read, but I will read it again. The system they developed was based on the belief that the Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt, was both a king and a god. It was a theocracy, or a government ruled by religious authorities. In a theocracy, all political authority comes from religion. Religious leaders have the power to make, approve, or enforce laws. They look to sacred texts or belief systems to justify their laws and actions. Priests and other religious leaders fill political offices. Individuals must follow religious laws carefully and may not have the right to freely choose what religion to practice. Again, if you need to pause the video, please pause it so you can answer your questions. Number 3, we're going to find on page 112 in your textbook. And the question is, which statement accurately categorizes the Egyptian religion? A, many gods who required human sacrifice. B, many gods who often took the form of animals. C, only 2 gods who represented heaven and earth. Or D, only 1 god who never took the form of a living being. So if we go to page 112, here we have down at the bottom, religion and Egyptian life. Let's read and see if this is where we find our answer. Worshipping the gods was a part of daily life in Egypt, but the Egyptians' focus on religion extended beyond people's lives. Many customs focused on what happened after people died. The gods of Egypt. Like the Sumerians, the Egyptians practiced polytheism and believed the gods were very powerful. Before the dynasty, each village worshipped its own gods. During the Old Kingdom, period, Egyptian officials expected everyone to worship the same gods, though how they worshiped the gods might differ from place to place. The Egyptians built temples to all the gods over the kingdoms. Temples collected payments from both worshippers and the government. These payments allowed the temples to grow more influential. Okay, so we did see part of that where we read that they were polytheism, which means they believed in many gods. Let's go, is this page 113? Let's go on to page 113. Over time, certain cities became centers for the worship of certain gods. As in other rivers, valleys, civilizations, much of this worship was based on the creation myth. Creation myths are ideas about how the world came into existence. In the city of Memphis, for example, people prayed to Ptah, who they believed created the world. Different theories about the beginning of the world developed throughout ancient Egypt. One stated that a group of 8 gods called the Ogdoad were responsible. Another myth said a god named Autumn rose from water to create the planet. The Egyptians had gods for nearly everything, including the sun, the sky, and the earth. Many gods mixed human and animal forms. For example, Anubis, the god of the dead, had a human body but a jackal's head. Other major gods included Re or Amon-Re, the sun god, Osiris, the god of the underworld, Isis, the god of magic, Horus, sky god, god of the pharaohs, Thoth, the god of wisdom, and Geb, the earth god. So your answer for question number 3 lies in that small paragraph right there. So again, for number 3, which statement accurately categorizes the Egyptian religion? Many gods who required human sacrifices. B, many gods who often took the form of animals. C, only 2 gods who represented heaven and earth. D, only 1 god who never took the form of a living being. Number 4 is in the exact same spot on page 113. So you'll find your answer for number 3 on 113, not 112. And 113, I also just read where the answer for number 4 is. So ancient Egyptians believed in many gods who were often represented as part human, part animal, such as Anubis, the god of the dead, who took the form of a human body and the head of a what? Crocodile, falcon, jackal, or lion. Again, that is in that same paragraph. And if you look, here we're talking about Anubis. So look there to find your answer. Number 5. This is on page 116 of your textbook. Why were the pyramids, such as the Great Pyramid at Giza, usually reserved for the burial of a pharaoh? A, ancient Egyptians believed that only their pharaohs had afterlives. B, pharaohs demanded the tombs to be built for their families. C, pyramid construction took a long time. Or D, ancient Egyptians believed that the pharaoh controlled everyone's afterlife because of their link to the gods. So if we go to page 116 in our textbooks, and we look at this paragraph here that says significance of the pyramids. I will read this and your answer is in here. Significance of the pyramids. The burial in a pyramid demonstrated Pharaoh's importance. The size and shape of the pyramid were symbolic to ancient Egyptians. Pointing to the skies, the pyramid was an icon that symbolized the Pharaoh's journey to the afterlife. The Egyptians wanted the pyramids to be spectacular because they believed that the Pharaoh, as their link to the gods, controlled everyone's afterlife. Making the Pharaoh's spirit happy was a way of ensuring one's own happy afterlife. So again, why were the pyramids, such as the Great Pyramid of Giza, usually reserved for the burial of a pharaoh? A, ancient Egyptians believed that only their pharaohs had afterlives. B, pharaohs demanded the tombs to be built for their families. C, pyramid construction took a long time. Or D, ancient Egyptians believed that the pharaohs controlled everyone's afterlife because of their link to the gods. Number 6, the answer for that is found on page 115. The Great Pyramid of Giza was constructed by Pharaoh who? Khufu, Menes, Tutankhamun, or Unaz. So if we go to page 115, we talk about the Great Pyramid of Giza here, and it's not a direct answer, but you will see actually within these two paragraphs the answer. Many of these huge pyramids are still standing. The largest example of this architecture is the Great Pyramid of Khufu near the town of Giza. It covers more than 13 acres at its base and stands 481 feet high. This single pyramid took thousands of workers and more than 2 million limestone blocks to build. Like all the pyramids, it's an amazing reminder of Egyptian scientific contributions and engineering, the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes. For example, the designers of the Great Pyramid of Khufu used a mathematical formula that is still used millennia later. So who was that Pyramid of Giza for? Okay, so the Great Pyramid of Giza was constructed for which pharaoh? Okay, Khufu, Menes, Tutankhamun, or Unaz. Okay, and on the back, you're going to use the pyramid on page 111 in your textbook. And I'll go to 111 real quick just so you can see it. 111, this is 111. So the bottom of page 111 is where you are going to get your information. All the words that you need to fill in are at the bottom in the word bank. So the top, you're going to have one word. The second line, there's 3 words that go there. Then the middle one, there's 1 word. The second from the bottom, there's 2 words. And then the very bottom part of the pyramid, there are 3 words. And then that is it. So this is going to be counted as a quiz grade. And you can use all the information that I posted here to help you find your answers. Good luck.